So good morning, everybody. Welcome to our daily Zoom, which is actually weekly. Daily intimacy. We say daily intimacy because intimacy needs to happen on a daily basis, whether we're sheltering in or not. And I'm really happy to be providing once a week on Tuesdays an opportunity for us all to gather and hear from really amazing teachers, presenters, coaches, healers. We've had like the most amazing lineup. And it all kind of started when I realized that I know so many amazing people and that each of them had something incredible and beautiful and powerful to offer to the community that has been gathering around me and around us. And yeah, it's just been an incredible experience these last couple of weeks. So I'll say more about Zhanna, who we have here today with us on one of my favorite topics, energetic boundaries. It's the way I live my life. We got Bridget from Cape Cod. She's a 10 this morning. Oh my gosh, that just makes me so happy. And we got Linda from Detroit, feeling positive and energetic with an 8. Yeah, so as you're arriving, please check in the chat box. Say hi, let us know where you're from and how you're doing this morning. And with that, I am going to, let's see, do I need to do any little Zoom housekeeping? I'll just let you know that you can keep your screen in 2 different ways. One is Hollywood Squares, where you see lots of people if you're on a larger screen. And the other is to change it to speaker view, where you might see the person who's speaking, but it doesn't always work, I find. And so the best thing, if you want to see just the one person who's speaking, is to bring your cursor on your device over the little Hollywood square box, and you'll see either 3 dots or a thumbtack. And mine is a thumbtack. So when I click the thumbtack, then the person who's speaking shows up on my screen. And I think if you scroll over your 3 little dots, it gives you an option for that as well. So I'm going to mute everybody. And the way that you participate here in raising hands to speak, which you will definitely have the opportunity to do, is just by putting the word me in the chat box when we ask for volunteers to share. And then we'll have you unmute and share and participate. And Zhanna's got some really, some of actually my favorite material, not only energetic boundaries, but my favorite material in terms of how it's taught. I'll let her say more about that, but it'll be really a great opportunity to have 1 or 2 people really be participating. And Laura, could you mute your phone? I'm going to try to do it for you. Okay, got it. There'll be a really good opportunity for a couple of you to get some direct feedback and coaching from Zhanna, so that'll be awesome. Okay, so yeah, thank you for checking in. I'm just scrolling. We've got Yanni from Cozumel, 8 a.m. here. Oh yeah, it's an hour earlier there. That's right. Good to remember that. Checking in at 9.5. Awesome. Dave and Lori in Pelham, New Hampshire. Yep, pin video. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody. Got lots of 8s and 7s and 9s and 10s this morning and some 6s. All right, so let's all have a breath and just invite you to gently close your eyes. And wherever you are sitting or standing or lying down, just take a moment to separate yourself from what you were just doing and even what you were just listening to in terms of my voice, and just come back into this moment. And another couple of breaths. And exhale with a sound or a sigh. You're all muted, so you can make as much noise as possible. So I'm going to invite you to do that a couple of times. So nice deep breath in. Might raise your shoulders a little bit and then exhale. And I invite you to, make any micro movements this morning. Maybe just a little movement in the shoulders, head left and right, whatever you need to wake up, because it's the morning still in most places here, but also to come to the moment. You know, our dreams take us where they take us. And now we're coming to the present, which is always our practice, and especially during a time of challenge and what might feel like chaos. It's so important to ground and be centered. And the breath is the first piece. So as you land in this moment, I invite you to connect with your belly. And you might put your hands on your belly and just feel the roundness of this birthing place, this place of wisdom, this place of generation. And breathing into the sensation of the words, the sensation, the physical sensation, and perhaps any emotion that comes when you put your hands on your belly. It's often a place of judgment. It can be a place of appreciation. Whatever it is, I invite you to be with what shows up there. It's also such an important piece of this time period right now is being with whatever is and accepting. So as you hold your hands on your belly for just a little longer, notice if there's layers of things that show up, perhaps layers of thoughts, layers of feelings, different sensations, and how you can use your breath to just be with whatever shows up. Such a deep invitation of acceptance. At best, a deep invitation for love. Second best, a deep invitation for neutrality, depending on how you want to look at it. So I invite you into another couple of breaths. Release your hands from your belly and bring your hands to your heart. And another moment of being with yourself and all your heart is feeling moment to moment, noticing how it changes. These days it might be more up and down than usual. Maybe for some people a little more steady. But just being with yourself and your heart. And then a nice deep breath in with a little pressure on your heart, giving yourself a hug. And exhale. And release and come on back. And I would like to introduce you to my friend Zhanna. Zhanna Lee. I'll have you share in a second. But Zhanna is, well, I've known Zhanna for a couple of years, not that many years, but a couple of years. And I've just been able to watch you kind of show up quietly in different places and then like this seed grow. That's what I've witnessed into really so much more of your authentic expression and power, and clearly your passion for this work and the practice of Tantra, and your work with individuals and couples around relationship and sexual connection and boundaries. And I think that I guess to say something personal, which I try to do, but everybody who comes, I feel you are have very selectively chosen the things that you want to study and master in a very clear way. And you know, rather than just like all over the place, it's like you've just like picked the things and really dove into them. And so I'm really excited about this topic because I love the Wheel of Consent. And I know there's been lots of new material, although not that new, as you said. And I'm really happy to have you here and sharing with us.
Thank you so much, Robyn. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to connect with the community. And thank you for seeing me, because what you said is exactly that. I started with studying in, I started this journey that I'm on as an intimacy coach with studying with Tantra and teaching Tantra.
Zhanna, let me ask you one quick question before you continue. Do you
Yeah.
have a headset by any chance?
Let me see. I do not, but I have this.
I hear a little noise, and so I just want to make sure you're clear.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for taking care of that. And
I don't know if anybody else hears the noise or it's
let's see if that works better. How's that? I don't know. Let's. Is this any better?
Yes, that's much better. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Beautiful. You're welcome.
And very quickly, I realized that we need a really solid, me and my friends and my clients need a very solid base to practice, to do any energy work, and especially in the area of sexuality. We need to know where we're standing at, basically the boundaries, right? How do we share in a safe way? And the first time I heard about the Wheel of Consent was from Breen Bishop, who is probably many of you know. And that was amazing. When I came to her workshop the first time, I don't even remember when was it, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And that was just it. The safety of a space, the consciousness that was there. So I made a commitment. This is something that I will be studying and I will be teaching to anyone who wants to learn Tantra, actually, as a first step, as a solid block to move from. So, and I'm doing it, and I'm very passionate about this work. And I've been lucky to go to California just this February to continue studying with Betty Martin, is the creator of A Wheel of Consent. I want to get a sense of, is there anyone here who has no idea who's Betty Martin is and who's, thank you. So thank you. Yeah, I can see that. Perfect. So I guess I will tell you more a little bit about that first, just the concept, and then offer a couple of exercises that we can either do with one of the volunteers, even the distance, or I'll talk about it, or I'll describe you how it can look like to practice that. And I would like to share my screen for that. And for those of you who, okay. How do I do that? Okay, found it. So this is just more information, right? The Wheel of Consent by Betty Martin. But here's the wheel. And if you don't see it, I will be describing it. So this is the concept. This is the practical tool, I would say, how to share energy and touch. So it started with, because Betty is a somatic educator, the whole concept started as a tool for body workers, but then it grew. And right now I am using it in my life. I'm using it in my communication. I'm teaching it as a tool to share. I'm using the word energy because I think this is the more accurate. Not just touch, not just words, but the energy exchange. So imagine, for those of you who cannot see the screen, imagine the big circle, and there are 4 quadrants. And the quadrants are, the 2 upper quadrants are someone who is doing the action. And there are 2 ways to do the action. And I want you to think about the action as simple as platonic touch or a hug, right? So it can be, you can be serving, meaning doing the action for someone's benefit. Or you can be taking, meaning doing the action for your benefit. And the 2 lower quadrants are allowing and accepting. Allowing is giving someone the opportunity to do whatever it is, hug, touch you for their benefit. And accepting is accepting the touch and the benefits. So it sounds simple, and there are some rules, and those are the rules that I want to say. They're a combination of what Betty teaches and what I came up with. But basically the rules are, the first rule is everything that is happening inside of the wheel of consent is pleasurable for both. It must. If it is not pleasurable for both, and we're not talking about sexual pleasure, that can be the case if there is a sexual exchange. We're not even talking about the tactile pleasure, but it feel good. It's a feel good. We don't have to be in more details. As long as it feels good for you, you are good. As long as it feels weird, uncomfortable, something's off, that probably means 2 things. Either you are outside of the will of consent, or you're not sharing in a way that allows the energy to flow. And what are the ways? That's the second rule of the will. The energy flows diagonally. And if you're looking at the picture, you might see that, here we go. So serving, accepting, that's the first diagonal. Taking and allowing, that's the second diagonal. So what happens when someone is serving? Let's say, honey, let me massage you. Right? Let me do it for you. Let me massage your shoulders. That's the invitation to, can I serve you? But another person is not in an accepting mode for whatever reason. And another person too tired, and he or she is in an allowing mode, which is basically, yeah, do whatever you want. If it pleases you, if you want to touch me, right? So that's not gonna happen. The energy flow not gonna happen in this case. And probably it's either gonna be missing each other, or one of us will move to another quadrant, which is an option too, just naturally. Or so energy flows diagonally, and that's just one of the examples. We can come up with more. And the only quadrant, and that is something new, Robyn, at least newish, I don't know, I kind of discovered it myself, and I think you might too. But we were talking about this at the in California just this February, that basically the only quadrant where 2 partners can be at the same time simultaneously is taking. You can't serve, it just doesn't flow, right? You can't allow, but taking, and especially in erotical touch, but practically, I believe it's in everything. We can one person can touch another, or well, let's stick with touch because it's more clear, right? And enjoy it for his or her pleasure, and another one can do the same, and there would be a flow. So that's, and a little again the recoup. So here we go. First way we can divide the wheel of consent is by asking a question. So how do we use it? It's more practical now. That's, who is this for? So if we start interaction, start touching, cuddling, hugging, and something is off, or if we want to be more conscious, we want to be more grounded. So the first question to ask would be, who is this for? Meaning, for whom? Who is getting the benefit? The tricky part sometimes is people say, and that was my question too, is but it has to be enjoyable for both. Why do we have even to think about it? If it's, I am a giver, I enjoy it, and this is kind of for both of us. But here we're talking about the intention. We're talking about the conscious intention. This exchange, who is it for? And that brings clarity, a lot of clarity, and let us and allow us to stay on a path. So who is this for? If this is for me, then I can choose, or I already chosen, to be doer, to act, to serve, or to just allow. But if I'm not doing anything, it's still, and another person is doing something, and but still, it's still for my benefit. I'm still a giver. And the other way around. It can be initiated from either part. So who is this for? That's the question that helps to bring clarity, or from the beginning, or if you get kind of confused. And
should we just see if there's a question before you move further? Because I know that even though you said it's simple, I think it's not very simple.
Go ahead.
And I know, I just wonder if anybody has a question.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you.
So if you have a question, please put a question in the chat.
Okay, someone is raising the hand. Patrice.
Oh, okay. You're raising your hand on the raise hand thing? Okay.
I can see notification.
Go ahead, Patrice. I'll unmute you. Oh, oops. Yeah. Go ahead, Patrice. Oh, I hear squeakies, but I don't hear your voice.
Me too.
Sorry, Patrice. Something's off with your volume. Try it again. Oh, you sound like a sweet little mouse. Can you type your question in the chat box? Because something's off with your audio. I'm sorry about that. You know, while Patrice is putting her question in the chat, or anybody else, I was just thinking about, not to make this complicated, but there is also the wheel of consent between me and me. You know, like giving to myself and then truly receiving from myself. And that's a deep invitation. Let's see, we don't have a question from Patrice, so go ahead. If nobody,
that's true. So if anyone has questions, type them in, or just.
It doesn't seem like it, so keep going.
Okay. So two more things about this. I just thought about it, kind of adding on, and if there are more questions, I'm happy to answer. So you have to be in a certain state, and that is kind of moving forward with the energy work, with any, especially Tantra. You have to be in and I mean Tantra practices in the area of sexuality, not the, all right. So you have to be in a certain state to give and to receive. And I know that many of you were at Robyn's pujas, including myself, and there is a lot of talk and practices about that. How do I give from a right place, from a place of generosity, not from a place of emptiness or I need to, I have to. And how do I receive truly? And in order to be able to receive, you need to be open, you need to relax and trust, right? So that's one piece that's relevant to this. Bringing yourself in the right place willingly. And another one is the different routes for pleasure, because this is coming up a lot with a giver, especially server, someone who is serving. I actually gonna move. So the other question is obvious, kind of who's doing the action, but here's the serving part. And for those who can see it, so there is a healthy, for each quadrant, there is a healthy place to give from. And for serving, for example, it's a place of generosity. It's your responsibility when you offering something to check with yourself. And no one is excellent at that. No one is good at that, but it's your responsibility to check, am I giving from, am I offering, if I'm offering to serve, from the right place, which is a place of generosity. Another way to ask if you're giving, and am I enjoying this? And if yes, awesome. And I'm still keeping the intention of giving, but I'm enjoying being a giver. And if not, am I doing it from a place of generosity? And if not, am I taking care of myself? In the physical touch, it's very simple. That's why I love these practices. When just with the platonic touch, when you just, oh, okay, I want to give. I'm giving from a place of generosity. Something's still off. Am I as simple as physically comfortable? Am I taking care of my body right now? Because if not, then it's the energy won't flow. So that's that. And if not, sometimes we go to the place of called shadow, outside of the will of consent, and we start giving not from a place of generosity, from a place of I must. And those are on the picture, you can see the shadows. It's kind of, it sounds really serious, but it could be. So when you, like a martyr, you burned out, you depleted, you really not giving from the right place, but you still giving, and your receiver will start feeling that. So just quickly through the next. So accepting, this is for me and they're doing. Again, the question is, am I enjoying it? Also, am I accepting from a place of gratitude? Because that's the healthy place to accept from. And if not, maybe I am in a shadow, which is, we all do that. We all go to the shadow. Nothing wrong with that, just catching yourself. That's what we want to do with these practices. And instead of feeling, oh, you owe me that, you have to do it. The sense of entitlement, that's one of the shadows. Or another one that is actually Betty is not mentioning in this will, but I see all the time in myself, in my friends, in my clients. It sounds like, oh, no, it's too much. I'm not deserving. Let me give to you. So trying to switch the will. So when you don't feel that you can accept or open for whatever reason, we tend to resist and go into this closed down state. Pleasure, that's what I was going to mention. So different routes for pleasure. There is a direct route and indirect route. Good to remember that when doing these practices. Because as a serving, as someone who serves, I am doing the action and I'm giving the direct pleasure. If we're talking about touch once again, and imagine platonic touch, something like a massage, okay? Massage and shoulders. So I'm doing it, but because I'm inside the will of consent, I want to make sure that I'm enjoying it. So I'm also enjoying it, but I'm enjoying it because of the enjoyment of another person. So direct route through your physical sensations, indirect route from just enjoying the pleasure that the what the facial expression, the sounds, the visual, the relaxation of the person that you're touching. So that type of pleasure. And why is it important? Because sometimes we get so stuck in chasing indirect route of pleasure, anyone, man and woman, that we lose the direct route. And that also can cause us to go into the shadows, and it might look like even unconsciously when we want to take, we want to feel, we want to hug another person for our enjoyment, but we can't bring ourselves to say that. And it looks like when we say, can I hug you? It looks like we're offering. So that's another one. So just two more. So taking, and that's a shadow of taking. I like the example with hugs. How many times someone would offer a hug? It happened to me, not often, but a couple of times, especially with people that I don't really know, right? And not so much with my friends, and that would be, okay, can we hug? And I would assume sometimes that this is for me. Let's say I'm feeling kind of, I'm feeling sad, right? And the person is offering a hug, and in the moment of a hug, I would start feeling that this hug is not for me. It's really not for me, which would be totally fine. And often it's totally fine, except I was in a mode of taking in, feeling in, and the person is reversing a direction. So that's called the shadow again. The shadow of taking sounds like stealing. Unconsciously, absolutely. It's just we're touching the other person. We might even have an intention to give. But if we empty, if we didn't check with ourselves that we have this overflow, this generosity, we will start taking. This is really interesting how, so the healthy place of taking is a place of integrity. Being really, really clear, this is for me. Being very clear, this is, I'm doing what, or asking to do what I want, and standing there very, very honestly. That creates the flow, because this diagonal can be incredibly pleasurable, incredibly beneficial. It can be really, really nurturing and even healing for both. But very often, because we feel shame in this place and we're not honest, we go into the shadow, and then it's all screwed up. So the next one, the fourth one, is allowing. And the healthy place to allow is a place of surrender. Of course, there is the trust. We need the trust to do that. And if we allowing someone to do whatever it is, it can be using my time, right? It doesn't, again, with touch, it's very straightforward, but with the energy, it can be anywhere. can be using my time. I'm allowing, I'm saying, you can initiate the energy exchange from every quadrant. It doesn't matter if you were acting or you were done to, doer, done to, the upper part, the lower part. But you can initiate from any of them. So let's say I told someone, yeah, you can come over and use my place, I don't know, for whatever, study, right? And the person is coming over and spending some time at my home, and then over time I'm feeling that this is too much, and if I won't speak up, or we didn't agree on time boundary, and that, then I will start feeling resentment. So, and if I won't say anything, negotiate, I'm going to the shadow. So it's always my responsibility wherever I am, taking, allowing, serving, accepting. Here's the whole wheel again. It's always my responsibility to watch for that. And that's a concept that's sometimes hard to stick to for everyone. For me, for everyone, it's just, this is a responsibility. But what it makes available is this beautiful energy flow between people. And there are communication pieces, how to create that, how to, and I know that Robyn is doing a lot of that, the honoring your no, honoring another person no, taking a no as a way to take care of yourself. So there are original agreements for to even start practicing that. So honoring the no and self-respect and respecting other people, that's where we're standing. Right. And I love this.
We've got a question in the chat, by the way, in case you don't see
let's move to that. And just about the no, so I just love this answer that they keep practicing in your workshops and Paul's workshops and cuddling parties, when we say that, when someone say no to us, thank you for taking care of yourself. That's just golden. Yes, please.
Can you see the chat, Zhanna?
I think when I'm not right now, not when I'm sharing the screen.
Okay, do you want to come back, or do you want to keep the screen up?
Stop sharing. I don't know. Yeah, let's do that. I'm coming back. Okay, now I can. All right. So how far should I go?
Go all the way to the bottom. I was just taking notes for everybody. So Erin's got a question. How do you manage people you don't know super well, who've offered a hug and it feels energetically draining or uncomfortable? In the past, I always avoid the person or people instead of being truthful. Great question. Probably
so how do you manage someone who is so that actually happened in the couples that I work with. People who love each other and they live together and they with the best intentions, and one of them, or sometimes they do that, they just grab and take in, right? Like so communication, asking before, if we're talking about hugging, asking before. And again, because this is a responsibility of someone who is doing the action usually, or asking for of me, right, wherever I am, that sometimes when another person is not conscious, right, how do we do that? We request, we do the request. So if it's someone you know, you live with, it has to be a communication, and you say, can you ask me before hugging? And why, the question why that I get sometimes is because we want to know which way the energy is following. It's fine. Many times for me, it's totally fine which way it will go. I'm ready for either, but I want to be clear. In order to relax and to trust, I want to be clear. So the questions that you want to practice and kind of bring it into your life and your communication, they are So when you want to hug someone, you say, can I hug you? Yes, it can mean differently with using body language. So let's say, Robyn, can I use you? Can I kind of play with you in that? So let's say Robyn and I are standing in
Sure.
front of each other. Thank you. And I'm coming over and I'm doing and saying something like this. Robyn, can I hug you? So which way the energy is going right now?
Yeah, you towards me, which makes me
Right? It's clear. So and I'm projecting. Versus when I could come over to Robyn and say something like this. Robyn, can you hug me? Right? It's kind of clear, right? And there is integrity in that. So in first time I'm offering.
And the
Second
second one,
time,
you're asking me to hug you, which is also
yeah,
a different
I'm
energy.
almost like pulling in. I'm asking, can you give to me? Same action, very different energy.
Right. And then there's, would you like to share a hug, which for me is like two people coming to the center with consent.
And that could be taking, both taking, just like I mentioned, that could be, or it can be a flow. Again, in Tantra, we talk about the flow, right? When we give from different chakra and receive from different chakras. But this is, why do we need this wheel? Again, no one needs it, but it's very useful. It brings clarity. It can be, again, used for more conscious communicating, including energetical communication. And it can deepen relationship. It can really allow us to go deeper safely. That's what I really like about it. When we clear, it becomes especially important in any kind of energy healing sessions, for example. Even if it doesn't have to be a professional healing session, in between partners and between friends, if we heal, we have a capacity to heal each other. And in those situations, we want to be clear who is a giver and who is a receiver, like crystal clear.
Yes.
It shouldn't be any doubt. Otherwise, it's not gonna help anyone and can damage. Yeah.
Yes, true. I'm just going to jump in. I wonder if
Yeah.
Patrice has one, because you have your hand up again. I don't know if you want to ask your question. And then I'd also like to spend some time before we close today to see about, just to kind of mull over together, bringing this to what's happening now. Because I bet there's some people out there that are like, well, this is going to be awesome when I'm going to be able to have some touch and connection. And some of you are in spaces where you're with people, partners or friends, where there's touch and connection right now, and not everybody. So I have a curiosity about that. But let's see if Patrice, did you want to unmute and share now? Go ahead.
Does my voice sound, can you hear me now?
You sound like a real person now and not like a mouse. Go ahead. What do you have to ask or say?
I'm trying to update to where we are now.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Just on that last piece with the person who had the question about the hugs, it's a thing I put in the chat. There's a metaphysical church I've visited, and there's this point where in the service where people, go around hugging each other, and it's like an assault, and an absence of presence. And I've actually put my hands in front of my body, like in a stop, and I was curious, it's a church. It's not on the street at night and I'm going to be assaulted by someone. And yet it feels very much a lack of presence. And therefore, I'm not sure what you think you're doing, but I know what my body feels. Like, what do you do with that?
Ability to say no, that's crucial. Yeah, there is no simple answer to that. I would say for me, when it happens, I am reminding myself first that I am responsible for myself. I'm the only one I'm taking the responsibility.
No,
If
no,
I
I
know,
put my hands in front of my body. They're not
very
getting
good.
to
Yeah,
hug me, but it's just
it
kind of
just
like
doesn't.
confusing to my system. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there are ways how to clear negative energy, that's for sure. But in the moment, I believe you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. And maybe starting a communication with this person in a way that, I mean, how well you know this person. You either talk about this consent or not. But yeah, there is no clear answer. I don't want to make something up. I think you protecting yourself by saying no, respecting your own boundaries, that's the best you can do in this situation. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, and there's another conversation to have about how to do that energetic protection, which
yeah,
I'm not going to do
that's a good,
today. But
yeah.
to me, for me, somebody, and for many of us on here that are sensitive to energy like that, and disturbances that come in, or energy that can come in, feels like a disturbance. So the practice of really protecting your space, you know, a couple of feet around your physical body is really important. And really important, especially now and
Yeah.
always.
I want to address one more question and give just a 1 minute exercise, just something, because there were a question about, okay, what can we do now? Or Robyn brought up, okay, if we don't have people in our house and we are mostly communicating online, what can we do? So first of all, the question about my daughter, someone wrote that my daughter doesn't like touching her. I don't want to read the whole question because we don't have enough time. But I just want to give an example. So I have a 16 years old son. Oh, actually, he just turned 17. And obviously, since he's teenager, he doesn't like to be touched that much. I mean, his boundaries are, his hormones all over the place. But I'm a touchy person, so I need it. I am very clear about that. And I used not to. And he's very good with his boundaries. So what we came up with, when I need touch, first of all, being clear, I'm asking in a way that's kind of creates fun between us. So I'm actually coming over and say, I really need human touch right now. And he can say, nah, I'm not interested. Or sometimes he can, like, lying on the couch, we're watching TV. He would do something, yeah, okay, you can massage my foot. That was the first time he did it. That was kind of funny. So, but we are being clear and we having fun around that. So I would invite just to be truly, truly clear. And yes, practicing saying no and in enforcing that no is a yes to yourself. Actually saying that. And for someone who said about the daughter, you can teach her. Each time she says no, praise her by saying something that would look like, thank you for taking care of yourself, because it makes things easier for both of you. And the exercises, so not exercises but ways to connect.
There's a couple of really other good comments on here.
Okay, maybe we'll do that instead. Yeah, so what is that?
Well, Laura had something about let me just get back to Laura's in a minute. Julie had a suggestion for Patrice, so I just want to make sure you see that, Patrice. And Bridget's asking about physical touch when the verbal language isn't like clear. And that kind of goes in line maybe with what Laura brought, which is about what's happening currently. Like, she says, what about other service providers or first responders whose hurt patients want hugs, but the service provider is uncomfortable and doesn't want to harm their patient by rejecting them? So, I mean, it's all in line with, like, how do you say no?
Yeah.
How do you communicate clearly? So that it's very clear what you're saying with your body language, your energy, and your voice. I mean, to me, those are the three things that need to all line up and all be consistent. So I guess I'm just going to throw that piece out there, that sometimes we will say one thing, but we mean something else, or like, right? We say yes when we mean no. And we may say no when we mean yes. We say maybe when we don't know. When we don't want to say no, we say maybe. And so I feel that, it's important to really, again, I've been talking a lot about coming into alignment with yourself and coming back to love and connection with yourself and your most aligned true expression. And this is, exactly what you're talking about, Zhanna. And having all of those pieces lined up so that the person receiving your message gets the clear message. I can't tell you how many people I hear tell me things like, well, it seemed like he was saying yes, or her body said yes, but she wasn't really saying anything. So I took it as a yes. And then she's like, he crossed my boundary, or she crossed my boundary. And, it's just, there's a lot of confusion in communication. And so some of these questions really do speak to, you put your hand up and your energy field needs to be clear and your voice needs to say, no, thank you. And, when you're taking care of yourself, if someone else feels rejected, that's about them and what they need to process and work on in terms of them feeling rejected and when we feel rejected. But the best you can do is be really clear and loving towards yourself by being clear about your yes and your no and what you're willing to engage in. And the wheel of consent brings a lot of nuance, which is really important to all the different ways of it that we engage with each other. That's what I love about it, and loved about it also when I first saw it. I was like, oh my gosh, she's brilliant to put words to this, the nuance of all of the energy that happens and all of the intimacy that happens between two people that hadn't been, I don't think, yet defined in such a clear way. And yeah, it's really brilliant. And the work I've done with couples using it has been like, just like, wow, in terms of the shift of understanding what's happening between two people. And it's complex. So I just want to say that it's like, to me, this is a course of study, like you presented a really clear, clean description of it in such a clear way and such an understandable way. So I want to appreciate you for that. And for people that are interested in like really diving into this and getting into all those nuances of what's inside the wheel, what's outside the wheel, I really suggest you go to Betty Martin's website, call Zhanna, like get more information, because it's really
unfortunately deep. Because of the quarantine, I scheduled the workshop just at the end of April. It was going to happen for specifically for the wheel of consent, but hopefully end of May. And I do teach also in private practice and small groups. And yes. Thank you. I totally resonate. Robyn, do you want to do something to demonstrate something for just 1 minute?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm just scrolling the chat to see if there's anything.
So
Matt
asks, offer something practical.
Yes, please. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. It's called a mirror exercise, and this is a fun way to connect for someone who doesn't have their loved ones around.
But maybe somebody else wants to do it, not me. Is there anybody else who wants to jump in really quick? Just put me in the chat.
Alrighty, who wants to volunteer? And that will be about touching and mirroring.
Talking enough, so somebody jump in. Okay. Go ahead, it's you. Go ahead.
I don't see who. Yeah.
I might have to pick on somebody. Let's see. Who can I choose?
I'll jump in.
All right, Erin. Thank you.
Okay, I need to see the speaker view. So I don't see you right now, Erin. Let me find.
Just scroll and you'll find her.
Yeah. Okay.
If Erin talks, she should come on your speaker view.
Okay,
Yeah,
can you talk, Erin?
Hi, how are you? I'm here.
All right, very good. Let me ping you. Oh, you have to keep talking. Yes. How do I do that? Okay. Erin, are you there?
Yes. I'm here.
All right, I pin your video. Okay. Oh no, that's Yanni.
Maybe Yanni wants to do it.
Yanni, would you like to do that?
Yes, she does. Mm-hmm.
Ha, yeah, I'm here.
No, oh God, no, this is, I don't know why. So actually I'm with Bridget right now for some reason.
Okay, just do it with me. Just do it with me. We're running out of time and I don't want to
Yeah,
waste
I
it on
know.
that. Okay, I don't know why.
Sorry, guys. Okay,
Okay.
Robyn. So, Robyn, how would you like me to touch you? Let's say for 30 seconds. Anything that you would like me to do to you for your benefit for 30 seconds with
Yes,
my
I
hand.
would like you to play with my hair for 30 seconds.
Thank you. So what I invite you to do is show, so I'm doing this with my hair and you repeating, you doing exactly, so try to do exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so not just randomly, but starting here, breath in and down, up and down. And everyone is welcome to do. So basically I invite her to mirror me. I am your mirror and you do what I do. And we look each other in the eye.
Yes, but then I'm in allow because you're not doing what I would do for my hair.
So, and then I will ask, is this something that you ask me to do? Right? So that one way, but you're right. In this case, that's kind of that's shifted. Right.
Yep.
So you would describe me what you're doing. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way.
Okay, for 10 seconds.
This is a new exit. Yeah. So
For 10
show me
seconds.
how you want me to touch you.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah, that's great.
So basically, yeah, and thank you, and that's perfect because I kind of it shifted. So
Yeah.
we just developing this mirroring with a group of consent group,
like
and because of the fast pace, I started with a different one. But the idea is you show on yourself, or you allow. Another question can be, can I touch you this way? And you show, and the person can say yes or no. At some point it will be you sometimes start feeling really feeling the energy going either your way or their way, and because you apply in your hands, it's also a tactile sensation, so it's pretty cool. It's a great game. I wish we had more time for that.
Yeah, that's really fun though. That's a great way to do it. And
I'll definitely do it. I know.
it's got a lot of possibilities, let's say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Zhanna. That was really amazing. I love the way you described it so clearly. I love the comments and the questions. And there's, like I said, there's so much more. It's a really deep course of study and a deep practice. It really is. A lot of nuance and takes a while. So thank you for bringing it to us. I will be sending out the recording. Yes, I'll be sending out how to contact Zhanna. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to her. You're welcome. Let's keep going for another hour. I wish I could. I will see you all here next Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Lots and lots of love. Have a blessed day, everybody. Mwah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your presence and time.
Yeah, thank you. Beautiful.